بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين واللعنة الدائمة الأبدية على أعدائهم أجمعين إلى قيام يوم الدين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. We mentioned that someone who is planning to perform Umrah Mufrada in ruling number 164, and he was afraid that he might not planning to do Umrah Mufrada in Rajab. He might not be able to enter arrive to the miqat and initiate the niyat of ihram in Rajab. So for him, it is permissible to enter the state of ihram before entering the miqat, and this is an exceptional case because you cannot enter the state of ihram before the miqat unless via nadhr, vow, or some of those exceptional cases such as this riwayat which has excluded those people who desire to do the umrah in Rajab, and for some reason they feel that they might not be able to initiate the niyat of ihram in Rajab. They might arrive late. Sometimes it happens, borders, checkposts, flight delays, flight late, whatsoever. We all have experienced some of these. So therefore, he can just enter the state of ihram before even arriving the miqat, and it will be considered for him umrah of Rajab, even though after entering the state of ihram, he did the a'mal of umrah in the month of Sha'ban. There is no difference between mustahab umrah and wajib umrah. How is that? Mustahab umrah, like any umrah. Wajib umrah, such as nadhr. Someone made vow, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blesses this for me, then I will do the umrah in Rajab, because nadhr, basically you choose what Allah loves. You make a vow to do something which is more pleasurable to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, more rewarding act. So that's why feeding the poor, for example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves feeding the poor. That's why Ahlul Bayt alayhi salatu wasalam, they were praised for feeding the poor, and whole surah was descended, Surah Al-Insan, on Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, وَيُطْعِمُونَ الطَّعَامَ عَلَى حُبِّهِ مِسْكِينًا وَيَتِيمًا وَأَسِيرًا. And the hadith mentions, إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُحِبُّ إِطْعَامَ الطَّعَامِ. Allah loves those people who feed the food. Obviously, the poor, Allah loves more and more. So taking care of those desperate and those weak ones and those who do not have sufficient provision is something which Allah loves very much. And that means you are rewarded with the mercy of Allah, with the best of rewards. The same thing, Umrah in Rajab. So people, Salat al-Layl, nighttime prayer. There are a lot of things which has lofty rewards in sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Learning knowledge. There's no great reward such as learning knowledge for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So therefore, Umrah in Rajab, Umrah is highly recommended. But Umrah in Rajab is like, as they say, icing on the cake. Very special reward for it. That's why followers of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salatu wasalam, you will find them packed in Makkah from different parts of the world doing Umrah in Rajab. It is like Ziyaratul Arba'in kind of situation, or Ziyarat Ashura. So Umrah in Rajab is a very special. So for that reason, some exemptional rules were presented by the hadith of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salatu wasalam, such as you cannot enter the state of ihram before miqat unless if it was through nadhr. Here you don't have to make a vow, you don't have to make nadhr. You are at the airport, okay, in Dubai, for example, or to Istanbul, and the flight got delayed. You're supposed to arrive on 29th of Rajab. The flight got delayed. Now what will happen? You know that you are going to arrive in Makkah in 1st of Sha'ban. So you can enter the state of Ihram from that airport, Istanbul or Dubai, to get the thawab without nadar even. So that is what he mentioned in ruling number 164, 2. إِذَا قَصَدَ الْعُمْرَ الْمُفْرَدَ فِي Rajab. If he intended to perform the Umrah of Mufrada in Rajab, وَخَشِيَ عَدَمُ إِدْرَاكِهَا. And he feared that he will not be able to reach there. إِذَا أَخَّرَ الْإِحْرَامَ إِلَى الْمِيقَاتِ. That means not be able to reach there in the month of Rajab. If he delays his ihram till the miqat, no problem. جاز له الإحرام قبل الميقات. It would be permissible for him to enter the state of ihram before the miqat. وتحسب له عمرة رجب. And it will be counted for him as the Umrah of Rajab. وإن أتى ببقية الأعمال في شعبان. Even though he performs the remaining a'mal in the month of Sha'ban. ولا فرق في ذلك بين العمرة الواجبة والمندوبة. There is, regardless of the Umrah, it is obligatory Umrah, such as you vowed for to perform Umrah in Rajab, or a recommended Umrah you did not vow to do in Rajab, but you just want to have the great lofty thawab of Umrah in Rajab. So you can do that. I just wanted to clarify that point. Yesterday the time ended, and I might have not clarified it properly due to the constraint of time. Now we take ruling number 165. Now 165 says you have to be sure that you have arrived in Ihram. How? For example, Salat. We cannot offer Salat before time. Before time, you cannot offer Salat at all. The Muslim community entirely, they agree upon this rule. Salatul Dhuhr, you cannot pray 10 o'clock in the morning or 9 o'clock in the morning. Salatul Fajr, you cannot pray like 1 or midnight or something like that. You see, you cannot offer Salat before the time of Salat. Okay, so that means we have to offer the Salat when the time enters. The time of Salat enters. Perfect. So how to know what type of knowledge is required that the time of Salah has entered? There are three ways. Either you bring what they say, the shakhs, and put it on the ground and check that the shadow of this pen is been decreasing from the western side. That means the sun is rising from the eastern side. The shadow is decreasing, and then when the sun comes top, the shadow disappears. Or if it was autumn and spring, the shadow might not, winter, some winter seasons, and some of the seasons, because the shadow disappears in the mid of summer and the places close to or on the equator line. But if you are, the more you go north, the shadow might not disappear exactly in summer. It might disappear in winter, or in autumn, or in spring. Anyhow, these are some details. You need to check your location. So the whole idea is the shadow is decreasing from the west side and the sun is rising from the east side. Okay. After that, what happens? That the shadow increases from the east side and the sun is decreasing from the west side. So, when you do like this to find out, oh, the shadow has disappeared, that means you found out by yourself, certainly, yes, it is the time for dhuhr. This is called ilmul yaqeen. Okay? Yaqeen means 100%. I have seen with my eyes, and I like your senses. You found out by yourself. Personal examination. Certainty comes out of personal examination. You personally found out that the time of Salat of Dhuhr is there. And this is what he says, that يجب على المكلف اليقين بوصول إلى الميقات. It is obligatory upon the responsible person to have certainty that he has arrived the miqat. arrived at the spot of miqat, on the miqat. If you are doubtful, you cannot enter the state of ihram. If you doubt this is miqat or not, no, you cannot enter. You have to have yaqeen, number one. There are three methods. What is number two? Itmi'nan, intellectual satisfaction. What is intellectual satisfaction? Those people who are aware about these things, about the dhuhr time and the intellectual, you know that these people are not crazy or not ignorant about these things. No, they are really aware and they are experienced people. So you get a satisfaction, itmi'nan. So number one, yaqeen, certainty. Number two, what? Itmi'nan, satisfaction. Not emotional satisfaction. Like many times, people they want to eat this barbecue meat from, I don't know, some of these McDonald's or here and there, and they go to Dubai. Dubai, everything is halal. Papa, these places they don't have sufficient local meat. Most of this meat is important. Yes, it's an Islamic country, but the meat is not sufficient. We have lived there. We know that local meat, which is halal meat, which is Emirati meat, it is very less. It's not even enough for their local community there. And our people they go there and mashallah halal McDonald. Now alhamdulillah they cannot eat because these people they are supporting those people who are killing innocent people. So anyhow, so at this point, let's say other than McDonald, whatever, uh, in these countries, you have to make sure because yes, it's an Muslim country, but they don't have sufficient. How did we know? Intellectually, there's an intellectual satisfaction. The meat is not sufficient. All the criterias, all the so I know for sure. But did you find out this meat came from a non-Muslim country? No, I had some intellectual clues. So, but those people that, oh, I'm satisfied, it is halal. Why? Because you love to eat that. Well, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm craving for that. Yeah, that's your satisfaction is not intellectual satisfaction. Your satisfaction is based on nafs al-ammara bisu, the nafs and the lust and the desire. And so that satisfaction is not sufficient. Whenever our ulama and maraja, they write the word itmi'nan, you don't have certainty, but you have itmi'nan, satisfaction. What type of satisfaction? People craving for BBQ and barbecue and all those kind of things. They might say, oh, I have a satisfaction. This is halal. Yeah, because it smells nice. No, does your intellect have enough clues to reach this satisfaction? Are the intellectuals who are observant of halal and haram, are they eating this meat from these people, from this grocery, from this shop, from this restaurant? If yes, khalas, you got your itminan based on the itminan of the intellectuals, not those who lust followers and desire followers and stomach followers and those people. No, you have to be truthful with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For that, you need to check those people who are concerned, intellectual people of the society, they eat the meat from this restaurant. Khalas, that's it. Even if then it was not halal, you did your homework. You saw the intellectual they are going and eating from that food. Like for example, a guy we went to some of the restaurants in some of the countries, and it was in halal food, okay, halal meat, and then we entered inside. They're serving alcohol. Now this guy does not know halal from haram, okay. Yeah, but maybe majburi, but I don't know. I mean, I'm not getting satisfaction. I have not seen him bring halal meat. I have no two witnesses, just witnesses testifying. I do not have any clues. The clues are against him. The bottles of vodka and alcohol, all these things are there, which are haram for Muslim. So he doesn't know the halal from haram. So how can I get? Maybe it is halal, but I can't have satisfaction. I can't have intellectual satisfaction. Okay. So I would do precautionary measure and avoid that Muslim. He says, I'm providing halal meat. Yeah, but you're also providing halal, haram khamr, sorry, haram wine, haram this. So how can we be satisfied? Like for example, one of those restaurants in Qatar, we said that what's your meat? Like many of the Indians, they buy very cheap meat, and most of the imported meats were cheap. So they have this chicken, which was like, so they said it's halal. I said, which company? They said this company. So we went inside the freezer. We saw it was all packed, imported, and he had a few chicken there, which was halal, to show the people I'm using this. So we have seen these kind of things. So for some people, they might be satisfied. For some people, they might not be satisfied. So it's this satisfaction comes individually based on the clues of satisfaction, satisfactory clues, not lust. Anyhow, so you arrive the miqat, you know for sure, yaqinan, you have the map, you have the mullah Google with you have everything with you indicating this is miqat. That's number one. Number two, satisfaction. I saw a bunch of people coming there, entering changing the clothes of ihram, then entering the state of ihram and labbaik. They might not be correct, yeah, but they seem to be intellectual people. They have a scholar with them. They have all these kind of, so there are satisfactory clues surrounding. Okay, then that if that gives me satisfaction, intellectual, yes, I can enter the state of ihram there. So number one, yaqeen. Number two, itmi'nan, satisfaction. In parentheses, due to the intellectual satisfactory clues or satisfactory, yeah, clues with which are intellectual clues, or religious proof. What is this religious? أو حجة شرعية. What is this religious proof or حجة شرعية? حجة شرعية is two witnesses. If two witnesses, just witnesses, they tell me this place is miqat, khalas, then I can leave it upon on their shoulders. Two just witnesses. So this is different than itmi'nan. Itmi'nan are intellectual things which concretely give me satisfaction. Hujjah Shar'iyya means two people, two just witnesses. They are human too. So they might have done mistake. These two mistakes, error is easily encountered than a group of people, which gives me satisfaction. So these two people, two just witnesses, two believers, just witnesses, they said this is miqat. So why should I rely on them? It gives me just probability, like 50%. Okay. Maybe they're wrong. Maybe they were mistaken. Maybe they don't know. Maybe their equipments. Maybe a lot of maybes are there. Okay. It's not like 15, 30 people that did ihram and left. That's not two witnesses. So that gives me more intellectual satisfaction. But here, I can't be intellectually satisfied by these two. But Sharia, based on the religious evidences in which indicated, no, you can rely upon the just witnesses. If they are wrong, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will relieve you because you relied upon two just witnesses. Okay? So this is Hujjah Shar'iyya. So ruling number 165 gives me this indication. Three ways to find out that you have really reached the miqat to enter the state of ihram. Yaqeen, certainty, and itmi'nan, intellectual satisfaction, and three, religious proof. That means two just witnesses letting me know, confirming that this place is ihram. Other than this, if you have doubt, you don't have yaqeen, you don't have intellectual satisfaction, you don't have religious proof, then you should not enter the state of ihram until you are sure by one of these three methods that you have entered, you arrived the miqat. Now, yaqeen is an intellectual concept. I don't need Sharia to tell me you have to follow your yaqeen. No, it's intellectual evidence to follow the certainty. I found out by myself. Khalas, you don't need Sharia to tell you I'm going to take responsibility. You have taken the responsibility. That's sufficient. Sharia accounts that as a relieving you from the responsibility because you followed your intellect. You followed the yaqeen. What about intellectual satisfaction? That is, I say, intellectual satisfaction. That means that is also an intellectual evidence to prove something. An intellectual society, they rely on this intellectual concept. You're driving, okay, in a street, and then let's say you are in a country where instead of red light, they use what they say, orange light. Okay, they use orange light for stop, for example. And instead of green light to go, they use blue light to go. And instead that middle yellow, they use purple. Somehow, I mean, just let's hypothetical situation. So in this case, what will happen? You arrive to this country, you see different colors of the traffic light signal. So what will you do? You will follow the pattern which people follow, people of that region follow. Everybody stops on like orange light, for example. They go on blue light. So what does that indicate? That indicates that he came first time he's driving. If realized people are stopping there on this light, that means I have to stop there. So that is, he did not ask. There are no two trustworthy witnesses. There's no yaqeen. He doesn't know what the heaven are these blue, green, and orange colors. So this is what normally the people, they follow the concepts of intellectual society. The intellectual society, wherever the intellectual norm is, they follow. And this was acknowledged by our ma'sooms, alayhi salatu wasalam. There are so many intellectual concepts. They were there, intellectuals used to practice. Our ma'sooms, alayhi salam, infallibles, they were observing. They did not prohibit following or observing or implementing those intellectual concepts. So that's how our Ma'sumin, they had approved the intellectual concepts, and that is what gives a person an intellectual satisfaction. Intellectuals are doing this, then it is something good, something nice. But you will tell me uh, corrupted things like alcohol. Alcohol, who said intellectual are? Uh, they have fine, they have limitation on alcohol. They don't like alcohol, but it's business. Big multi-millionaire people, they give, they pay. I mean, this is a modern bribe. Okay, so to allow them. Otherwise, the intellectual society, they don't support alcohol. Intellects, even those people, I mean, worst case worst, they don't like to be intoxicated. People, they don't like to lose their mind. Those who like to lose their mind, normally they don't have mind. And we can agree to disagree. Okay, I mean, why are you going to put yourself in a mood to lose your mind? Okay, like with drugs or these kind of things. This is not intellectual. It's shutting down your intellect is a non-intellectual activity. So that is why these things, and even fornication or adultery, these kind of things, all a lot of these kind of things are out of lust. If you take the lust away, people will not do these kind of things. So these are lustful activities, not intellectual. Intellectual activities when Islamic legislative system had approved or approves or tries to embrace are those practices which provide justice, respect in the community, and with moral values and code and all those kind of things, which are practiced dealing with buying and selling. This is a mode of practice, one of the examples of intellectual society, buying and selling. So, one example also I'll give you, mode of intellectual society. which Sharia uses. Now, when you sell something, let's say you are selling me this pen, okay? You're selling me this pen. I cannot buy from you if I am not sure it is yours. If you might have stolen it, you might have stolen it, and you might have purchased it, and you are selling me. It might be yours and it might not be yours, but I am buying it from you. Sharia allowed me to buy it from you without finding out that this pen has been usurped by you or purchased by you from the previous seller or previous owner. Sharia allows me to get it from you without checking out. Why? Because there's a rule in the intellectual society. Whoever owns something, whoever has control of something, he owns it. Unless if there is an evidence, there is a concrete evidence says otherwise. So if you don't know that the person whom you are buying this pen from has usurped it, you will give him benefit of doubt. That's the concept of intellectual society. No, no, no. I don't have any evidence to accuse you. A person is innocent until proven guilty. I can't accuse you of stealing. Hence, I can buy this pen from you and I can consider this pen is yours. So this is something which three methods of having knowledge. One is certain knowledge of certainty, and another is satisfactory knowledge. Third is knowledge based on religious evidences. So first and second are intellectual concepts of intellectual society. The third one is religious evidence, which Sharia told me, Islamic legislative system told me, the evidences indicate if trustworthy person tells you something, if a just person tells you something, rely on it. And the testimony comes by two just witnesses in most of the cases. So that is what he said here. يجب على المكلف اليقين بوصوله إلى الميقات. It is obligatory upon the responsible person to have certainty that he has arrived the place of miqat. والإحرام منه, and to enter the state of ihram from it. So yaqeen, أو يكون ذلك عن اطمئنان, or it should be based on intellectual satisfaction. أو حجة شرعية, or religious proof. ولا يجوز له الإحرام عند الشك في الوصول إلى الميقات, and it is not permissible for that person to enter the state of ihram with the if a person is doubting that he has arrived the miqat or not. Inshallah, tomorrow, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, we'll continue. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وعلى آله الطيبين